Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Sri Guru Samhita, the legend of the Supreme Guru, original in Marathi as Sri Guru Charitra by Sri Gangadhara Saraswati, composition in Sanskrit by His Holiness Sri Vasudevananda Saraswati, also known as Tembe Maharaj. This translation into English is provided by Dr. Narasimhaswamy Banavara. Chapter 37, Description of Daily Rituals. Salutations to Lord Ganapati. Salutations to Lord Dattatreya. 1. Namadharaka said, O Guru Siddha, please describe to me the rest of the story. What did the Supreme Guru tell the Brahmin next? Tell me, please. 2. Guru Siddha said, O Namadharaka, O one of good qualities, only Lord Narayana is the omniscient, the all-knowing one. He took mercy on everyone and explained the Vedas to one and all in the past. 3. How can it be difficult for the Supreme Guru, who is the very incarnation of the Trinity Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, to describe the codes of conduct and the procedures of Dharma? He even blessed a man from a lowly caste and made the illiterate man attain knowledge and enlightenment and even recite the divine Vedas. 4. He is the very Kalpavriksha, the all wish fulfilling celestial tree. For all his devotees, the Supreme Lord is Lord Shiva. He took mercy on the poor Brahmin and explained to him the codes of good conduct. 5. The Supreme Guru said to the Brahmin, O good man, a married householder must first build a house for himself. Then he must collect 2 wooden sticks to start a fire. Then he must collect other essential items for the home. 6. The most essential items are the Shaligrama stone and other divine gems, ghee, sandalwood, sesame, and Krishnanjana. Sins do not come inside a house which has these divine items. 8. One must protect and feed a Saras crane, especially in the bright half of the lunar month. One must also maintain cows in the household. These cows help in warding away all sins. The procedure of Archana to the gods. 8. A Brahmin must perform Archana, that is puja or worship to the gods every day in his home according to procedure. One must first sweep the house and wipe it clean every day. In particular, the puja room, that is the room where the gods are established and where puja is performed, should be cleaned as well. 9. One must always use golden, silver, copper, or earthen vessels for the daily archana of the gods and for the cleaning of the house, including the puja room. Brass is prohibited. 10. Unmarried girls, newly wed brides, and Shudras should not clean the house and in particular the puja room. One should always use the right hand to clean the room, not the left hand. 11. One should start the cleaning process from the southwestern corner of the house and complete it quickly. One should not clean the house at night. If there is no alternative, then one must clean the house and the puja room at night using bhasma. One should never clean the house at night using water. 12. Then one should decorate the puja room with rangavali and other items. Then the Brahmin should sit down on a clean seat and start the archana for the gods. 13. Just as a Brahmin should perform Sandhya Vandana 3 times a day, that is at dawn, noon and dusk, he should perform archana to the gods with devotion 3 times a day as well. 14. If he cannot perform archana 3 times a day, then he must definitely perform archana in the morning according to procedure with all the 16 forms of worship. In the afternoon, he may perform only 5 forms of worship beginning with gandha, that is fragrant sandalwood paste. 15. In the evening, he may perform Mangala Niranjana, that is showing of divine light, and Mantra Pushpa, that is offering of flowers with Vedic mantras to the gods. If one is unable to perform Archana at the prescribed times, then he should perform an abridged Archana when he sits down to eat his food. Note: a Brahmin may offer to the gods the food that his wife has prepared. The food should be pure and should not have been eaten by anyone prior to this offering. Also, he may offer fruits and milk to the gods. 16. Whoever does not perform Archana to the gods shall go to the abode of Lord Yama. There, in the fiercest of hells, he shall experience untold sufferings. 17. If a person having born as a Brahmin eats his food without first performing archana to the gods, then he shall definitely be punished by Lord Yama. A married householder who does not perform the Panchamahayagna shall be punished as well by Lord Yama. 18. I shall now describe to you the 6 ways to perform archana for the Supreme God. I shall also describe the different methods of performing archana. If one worships water, then the Supreme Lord Narayana, that is another name for Lord Vishnu, is appeased. Note, Lord Narayana is the water himself. Therefore, one may collect pure water in a golden, silver, or copper vessel and worship the water as the Supreme God. 19. Lord Narayana is also appeased when one worships fire. The archana of the fire is even more meritorious than the worship of water. Mental worship that is established in the Supreme Lord in one's mind and heart is the best among all forms of archana. 20. If one devotedly worships the sun god, who is present for everyone to see, the Lord Narayana is appeased as well. One can also worship the sacrificial fire in the standila, that is considered common. Finally, the worship of the idols of the gods is the way for people of limited intelligence to perform archana to the gods. 21. Intelligent people worship the Yajna Purusha, that is the essence or the deity representing the sacrifice, which is Lord Agni himself. By worshipping the Yajna Purusha, one attains heaven and ultimately salvation. Scholars believe that this is the best way for Brahmins to perform archana. 22. At the same time, worshipping Brahmins and cows is also considered very meritorious. By worshipping the Supreme Guru with devotion, one appeases the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. 23. The sacred scriptures extol the Supreme Guru as a very manifestation of the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. By worshipping the Supreme Guru, one attains fulfillment of one's desires. He shall also attain fulfillment of all the 4 Purushastras. 24. In this Kali Yuga, a person's mind is not stable. Therefore, Lord Vishnu has recommended archana as the best way to serve the Lord and to stabilize one's mind. 25. Lord Vishnu has stated that the Salagrama is the most superior among all forms of the Supreme God for the archana or Saligrama. By performing Abhisheka, that is ritual bath, for the Saligrama which bears the signs of Chakra, that is a discus, and drinking the holy water, one is relieved of all the sins. 26. A Brahmin should seek permission from his Guru and then worship the idols of the gods. A Brahmin must perform archana according to the procedure and with pure devotion. 27. Veda mantras should not be recited by women or by Shudras. They will benefit by reciting verses and hymns from the Puranas. 28. If a person heeding the command of his Guru worships a piece of wood or a piece of stone, then that itself becomes God. That God shall be pleased with the person on account of the archana. Devotion is the most essential ingredient for the archana. 29. One must sit on a clean and holy seat and perform pranayama 3 times. Then he must recite the mantra Ebhyo Mata to request all the human desires which may cause impediments in the archana to leave the spot. 30. Then he must contemplate on his own souls and sprinkle some water upon himself while chanting the Om syllable. Then he must make a sankalpa, that is solemn vow, that he will perform the archana according to procedure. He must perform the requisite nyasa. Then he must worship the kalasha. Note, the kalasha is the pot of water that will be used for the archana. Before the archana, one must worship the water and invoke divinity in the water by inviting the celestial Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati and the other holy rivers into the water. 31. With a clean mind, the Brahmin must then keep the kalasha to the right of the gods. He must then worship the Shankha, that is conch, and the Ghanta, that is bell, and place them respectively to the left and right of the gods. 32. He must then remove all the decorations, flowers, and other offerings of the previous day from the idols of the gods and place them in the southwestern corner. He should place a clean and wasted piece of cloth on the ground. Place a lamp upon the cloth and light the lamp. 33. With pure devotion and with complete body, mind and soul, he should contemplate on the Guru. He must then perform the worship of the Pita, that is the seat of the gods. while reciting the appropriate Vedic mantras. 34. Then he must perform the archana for the Dwarapalakas, the gatekeepers of the abode of the Supreme Lord. Afterwards, he must contemplate, that is, do dhyana on the subtle form of his soul and meditate on it as the very form of the Supreme Lord in front of him, complete with all the qualities. 35. Thus contemplating, he must invite, that is Avahana, the Supreme Lord while chanting the first rik, that is the sacred verse or hymn of the Purusha Sukta. Chanting the second rik of the Purusha Sukta, he should offer a seat, that is asana, to the Supreme Lord. With the third rik, he should offer padya, that is washing of the feet, to the Supreme Lord. Note: the Purusha Sukta mantras are the most popular and most auspicious mantras used for the archana of the male gods. The Sri Sukta mantras are used for the archana of the female deities and goddesses. 36. With the four rik of the Purusha Suktas, he should offer arghya to the Supreme Lord, and with the fifth rik, he should offer achamanas with pure and clear water. 37. With the sixth rik of the Purusha Sukta, he should offer snana, that is abhisheka or ritual bath, to the Supreme Lord. First, he should bath the idols of the god with pure water. Then he should bath the gods with panchamrita, that is the five nectars, milk, curds, ghee, honey, and sugar. He may also use coconut water and other fruits and fruit juices for the abhisheka. He should recite the appropriate mantras for the panchamrita abhisheka separately. 38. After the panchamrita abhisheka, he should bath the gods once again in cool and pure water while reciting the complete mantras of the Purusha Sukta, Stri Sukta, Rudra Sukta, Chamaka Sukta, and Durga Sukta. During the abhisheka, he should ring the bell several times. 39. After the bath, he should offer achamana to the Supreme Lord. Then he should wipe the idols of the gods with a dry and clean piece of cloth and place in the idols and decorated stand. And place the idols on the decorated stand. Then with seventh rik of the Purusha Sukta, he should offer vastra, that is new clothes, to the Supreme Lord. 40. Reciting the eighth rik of the Purusha Sukta, he should offer upavita, that is sacred thread, to the Supreme Lord. After the vastra and upavita, he should offer achamana again. Then, with the ninth rik, he should offer gandha, that is fragrant sandalwood paste, and akshata, that is colored rice. 41. With the 10th rik of the Purusha Sukta, he should offer different kinds of pushpa, that is flowers. Then he should please the Supreme Lord by worshipping him with various kinds of flowers, such as by reciting the 1000 names of the Supreme Lord, followed by 108 names of the Supreme Lord. Listen. 42. I shall now tell you about the flowers to be offered to the Lord during the archana. This method has been accepted by all the saints and sages. Flowers from the garden in one's house and flowers from the forest are the best flowers for archana. 43. Some consider the flowers from the forest as intermediate in value. Flowers purchased with money are considered the lowest in value for the archana. 44. If one has no alternative but to purchase the flowers, then one can sprinkle some water on the flowers and use them for the archana. 44. White flowers are the best. They have the most value for the archana. Red and yellow flowers are intermediate in value. Black and multicolored flowers are the lowest in value. 45. One should not use flowers of the previous day. For the archana of the gods, one should not use flowers which have holes in them, flowers which have been eaten by small bugs and insects, and flowers which have fallen down from the plants. 46. Lotus flower, tulsi, that is basil leaves, and bilva, that is bell or wood apple, leaves will never get old, irrespective of the number of days after plucking them from the plants. They are always as pure as the holy Ganga and may be used any time for the archana. 47. Lotus, bakula, champaka, nagakesara, patala, jasmine, kalhara, and oleander flowers may be used for the archana of all the gods. 48-49. Some pushpa flowers may not be used for the archana. While worshipping Lord Vishnu, one must not use nirgundi, girikarnika, red oleander, arka, datura, gooseberry flowers, kapitha, shigru, and pumpkin flowers. 50. If one worships Lord Vishnu with the above mentioned flowers, then he shall incur deadly sins. This has been stated by all the saints. If a person offers any of these flowers to Lord Vishnu, he shall undergo several sufferings. 51. If one offers the Arka Pushpa to the Lord Vishnu, then he shall incur misfortune. If he offers the Datura Pushpa, he shall incur loss of memory. He shall attain poverty as well. 52. If he offers the Girikarnika Pushpa to Lord Vishnu, then he shall suffer with the destruction of his family. If he offers the Kantakari Pushpa, he shall experience immense grief and suffering. 53. If he offers Girimallika Pushpa to Lord Vishnu, he shall incur sorrow. If he offers the Shalmali Pushpa, he shall be stricken with diseases. Therefore, one must think carefully before offering flowers to Lord Vishnu. 54-55. The following flowers should be avoided when performing Archana to Lord Shiva. They are Kapitha, Ketaki, Shama, Rakta Pushpa, Shashanka, Karanja, Dhataki, Neem, Madhavi, Bakula, and pomegranate flowers. 56. One should avoid mango flowers and kunda flowers. By offering these flowers, one will beget sins. In general, white flowers are the favorite flowers for Lord Shiva. One should offer such flowers to Lord Shiva with devotion. Note, kunda is a kind of jasmine. It is also referred to as fragrant oleander, that is Nerium odorum. 57. Tulsi, basil leaves are prohibited for the Archana of Lord Ganapati. One should not use Durva grass for the Archana of Goddess Durga, that is another name of Goddess Parvati. 58. One should gather all the details about the flowers and then perform Archana. If one gathers all the facts about these flowers and uses appropriate flowers for the Archana of different gods, then he shall attain all the 4 Purushastras. 59. After the Archana with flowers, one should light fragrant incense sticks while reciting the 11th rik of the Purusha Sukta and offer the fragrance, that is Dhupa, to the Supreme Lord. Then he should offer Ekarati Deepa, that is ritual lamp with 1 wick, to the Supreme Lord while reciting the 12th rik of the Purusha Sukta. After Dhupa and Deepa, one should offer Achamana. 60. Then reciting the 13th rik of the Purusha Sukta, one must offer Nevidya, that is offering of food, fruits, milks and juices to the Supreme Lord. After Nevidya, one should offer Achamana. With the 14th rik, one should offer Tambula, that is betel nut and betel leaves and fruits. 61. Then the Brahmin must offer gold coins as Dakshina to the Supreme Lord and then offer Mangala Niranjana, that is showing of divine light with camphor. Reciting the 15th rik of the Purusha Sukta, he must offer Mantra Pushpa, that is offering of flowers along with chanting of Vedic mantras to the Supreme Lord. 62. Reciting the 16th rik of the Purusha Sukta, he must offer Pradakshina and Namaskara, that is circumambulations followed by salutations, to the Supreme Lord. One should not offer salutations directly in front of the Lord, nor should one show his back to the Lord while saluting him. Also, one should not go into the inner sanctum of the Lord to salute him. 63. O Brahmin, I shall tell you the procedure of offering Namaskara, that is salutations. One should first perform Pradakshina, that is circumambulations around the Lord. Then he should offer salutations to the Lord from the side, the right side of the Lord being most auspicious. 64. Then he should go and salute his mother, father and Guru. If one sees a pious Brahmin coming at a distance, he should go near the Brahmin and salute him. 65. An intelligent person must offer one salutation to all people present in a gathering or in a temple. He should not salute every individual separately. One salutation will reach all people present there. 66. When saluting one's mother, father and Guru, one should hold his left ear with his left hand and his right ear with his right hand. He should then state his parva, that is comprising of his gotra, shaka and other facts about him including his name. 67. Then he should bow down to his mother, father and Guru and hold their left leg with his left hand and right leg with his right hand. He should touch their legs from the knee down to their feet and salute them with devotion. 68. I shall now tell you about people who are equivalent to the Gurus. This is accepted by all the saints. The Brahmins must realize these facts and then salute the appropriate people with devotion. 69. One must salute one's mother and father who gave birth to him. He should salute his guru who taught him and imparted knowledge. He should salute the person who looked after him, the person who protected him from harm, and the person who fed him. He should salute his stepmother. He should salute the person who initiated him into Brahminhood, that is, perform Upanayan or sacred third ceremony, and initiated him to the divine Gayatri Mantra. He should also salute his family priest. 70. He should salute his elder brother, his paternal uncles and maternal uncles. He should also salute who are aged. Then he should salute his friends and relatives. It is especially important to salute learned and scholarly people. 71. Now I shall tell you about the people who are ineligible for namaskaras. An illiterate person and a person younger than oneself are not eligible for namaskaras. 72. A Brahmin should not salute a person who is holding samit, that is twigs for the sacrificial fires, flowers, akshata or dharma grass in his hand. A Brahmin who is holding any of these items should not salute anyone else as well. 73. While performing a sacrifice or japa, one should not salute anyone else even though he sees the other person coming from afar. While performing his ritual bath and while standing in water, one should not salute another person. 74. If a person is running, then he should not be saluted. An angry person and a stranger should not be saluted as well. One should not salute a person who is arrogant because of his wealth. One should not salute another person who is performing an auspicious bath. 75. One should not salute a dead body, a fool, and a sinful man. One should never salute a Brahmin with just one hand. These are the methods for namaskaras. 76. After performing namaskaras to the Supreme Lord, one must play musical instruments, sing songs, or perform dances and bring pleasure to the Supreme Lord. He should chant different hymns and pray to the Lord with profound devotion. He should then perform archana to Sanaka and other Brahmarshis. Note, the primary Brahmarshis and mentally born sons of Lord Brahma are Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanat Sujata. 77. He should then offer the complete merits of the puja to the Supreme Lord himself and pour a little water in the vessel and then salute the Lord again by placing his hand on the pita, that is the seat of the Lord. Then he must perform Uttar Puja, that is farewell worship, and then perform Udvasana. Note, Udvasana is the process through which one takes all the divine qualities of the Supreme Lord that has been established in the idols of the gods and assumes oneness of those qualities with his own internal soul and energy. Hindus believe that the Supreme Lord, that is Paramatma, and the human soul, that is Jivatma, are one and the same. The same Supreme Lord resides in each and every one of us. During Archana, we invite the Supreme Lord to reside in the idol or linga or shaligrama for the duration of the puja. Afterwards, we assume the divine energy of the Supreme Lord back into ourselves and become one with the Supreme Lord. 78. If one performs Archana of the gods in this manner, then he shall obtain happiness in this world and salvations in the next. Then one should perform the Vishwadeva ceremony to relieve himself of the Panchasuna dosha. Note, there are small microbes and insects in the stove, grinding stone, mortar, broom, and in water vessels. During cleaning, sweeping, grinding, and cooking, many of these microbes die without one's knowledge. One begets sins as a result of these actions. These sins are called suna. To relieve oneself of these sins, one performs the Panchamahayagna. The Panchamahayagna form a set of 5 rituals that every Brahmin must perform every day. They are the Deva Yagna, that is worship of the gods, Pitru Yagna, that is worship of the ancestors, Bhuta Yagna, that is worship of the spirits, Manusha Yagna, that is worship of the people, meaning guests, and Brahma Yagna, that is worship of the Brahmins. The principal deity in charge of the Panchamahayagna is Vishwadeva. More on Vishwadeva can be found in chapter 7, verse 75-76. The procedure of Vishwadeva. 79. First, the Brahmin must make a sankalpa, that is Solomon vow, to perform the Vishwadeva according to procedure. Then he should establish a fire for the cooking rice. He should set the fire going and contemplate on Lord Agni, the god of fire. He should invoke divinity into the cooked rice mixed with ghee and make 5 portions of the rice. He should offer the first portion of the rice into the sacrificial fire for the gods. 80. He should offer the second portion of the rice as Baliharana to to be consumed by Bali and the other spirits who are the devotees of Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva. He should offer the third portion of rice to Pitros, that is, ancestors. He should offer the fourth portion to dogs, crows, and other animals nearby. 81. The Brahmin should offer the fifth portion of the cooked rice to the Brahmarshis, Sanaka, and others, and also to human beings. If one does not cook rice on a particular day, then he may use uncooked, that is raw rice, for Vishwadeva. 82. Whoever comes to the Brahmin's house at the time of Vishwadeva is a guest, whether he is a Chandala or a thief or anyone else. The Brahmin must welcome him and feed him. 83-84. Lord Yama has instructed his attendants: whoever does not perform Vishwadeva in his home, whoever does not show hospitality to his guests, whoever does not donate food to others, such people are eligible for punishment. Bring such people to me, but do not go to the homes of those people who perform Vishwadeva. This is the command of Lord Vishnu. 85. Whoever comes to the Brahmin's home at the time of Vishwadeva, whether he is a murderer of his own parents, whether he eats dogs, or whether he is anyone else, the Brahmin must feed him to the best of his abilities. If Brahmins come to his house, then he must feed them and appease them. 86. The Brahmin must feed the Brahmin guest without inquiring about their gotras or families. If a guest returns from anyone's house disappointed, then the Pitros, that is, ancestors, will not come to that person's house anymore. 87. A married householder should perform the ritual sacrifice with ghee and other ingredients every day. If he is away on a tour, then he should perform the Deva Yagna with roots, fruits, and other ingredients that he can find along the way. 88. A good human being must not donate any other special items without donating food first. If a person does not perform the Panchamahayagna at home, then he may become purified by performing the Chandrayana Vrata. 89. If a guest comes to the Brahmin's house before he can perform the Vishwadeva, then the Brahmin must donate food to him immediately. By doing so, one obtains all the merits of the Vishwadeva. 90. After the Vishwadeva, the Brahmin must not remove the Baliharana himself. He should have someone else remove it. If he removes it himself, he will incur sins. He can seek relief by performing the Chandrayana Vrata. 91. If the Brahmin eats his lunch without removing the Baliharana, he shall incur sins. To seek relief from those sins, he has to perform 6 pranayamas. 92. The Brahmin has to perform Baliharana in the compound of his house and give food to the cow. Then he has to perform the daily Shraddha. He may also perform a symbolic Shraddha. 93. There is no offering of Pinda, rice balls, to the ancestors in a daily Shraddha, unlike the regular Shraddha performed once a year for the ancestors. There are no Upasana, Dakshina, donations, and the celibacy restrictions as well. 94. After the sacrifice, one must wait outside his home, in his compound, waiting for a guest to arrive. He must wait for the guest for a time period it takes to milk a cow. He must offer hospitality to whoever arrives at his home. 95. If a guest arrives at his home particularly tired and hungry, then the Brahmin must pay special attention to him and show due hospitality. Similarly, he should show hospitality to any guest who come to his house in the evening. 96. He should treat a pious Brahmin who arrives at the time of Vishwadeva with special respect and devotion. A Brahmin is the guru for all the caste, and he is to be worshipped and respected. 97. If a person worships a Brahmin when he comes to his house at the time of Vishwadeva, then it is as if he has worshipped Lord Agni and all the other gods with the same respect and devotion. 98. If a Brahmin shows hospitality to his guests and worship him with devotion, all the Marudganas, Lord Aryama, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva shall be appeased. Note: Lord Aryama is one of the 12 Adityas. 99. If the Brahmin washes the feet of his guests, then all the Pitruganas will be appeased. If the Brahmin feeds his guests and appeases him, then the Trinity Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva shall be appeased. 100. If a sannyasi or a brahmachari comes home, then the Brahmin must definitely donate food to him. By doing so, he shall acquire significant merits. 101. If a Brahmin donates one morsel of food, then he shall attain merits equal to those obtained if he were to donate the entire Mount Meru. He shall attain merits equal to those obtained if he were to donate the entire ocean by giving a little water both in the beginning and at the end of the donation. 102. If a selfish and lowly Brahmin eats his lunch without offering food to a guest who has come to his home, then he shall be reborn as a dog. Then he shall be reborn as a donkey. 103. Therefore, one must first feed one's guest. Then he should join the children and the elders of the household and eat lunch together with them. He should not sit separately and ill treat anyone. 104. Rather, he should sit in the same line and eat along with them. Regardless of whether it is day or night, he should never discriminate against anyone. If he discriminates, then he shall incur sins. Before sitting down for food, a married householder must first wash his feet. The procedure of eating food for a married householder. 105. A Brahmin must always wash his feet, his hands and his face. If a Brahmin eats his food while his 2 legs, 2 feet and his mouth are wet, then he shall live happily for 100 years. 106. The Brahmin should sit down facing east, folding his legs together and eat his food in absolute silence. 107. Using bhasma and water, one should draw a square mandala, that is, ritual drawing where the food plate is placed for the Brahmin to eat. For a Kshatriya, one must draw a triangular mandala, and for a Vaishya, one must draw a circular mandala. 108. For a Shudra, one must draw a crescent mandala where the banana leaf is placed. The Brahmin must then invoke the 8 Vasus, the 11 Rudras, the 12 Adityas, and all the other gods into the mandala. 109. Lord Brahma and the other gods reside in the mandala. Therefore, one should always prepare a mandala according to the procedure at the spot where one eats his food. 110. If a Brahmin eats his food without preparing a mandala first, then Pishachas, Rakshasas, that is demons, and other evil spirits will take away the essence of the food. Therefore, one must always prepare a mandala. 111. The Brahmin should always face east while eating food. That is the best. Facing west has intermediate value. While performing Shraddha, that is death ceremony and worship of the ancestors, one should eat facing north. When one is filled with desires in his mind, he may sit down facing south to eat food. 112. One should not sit facing any other direction. It is prohibited. Food may be served in a golden, silver or copper plate. Food may also be served on lotus leaves or palasha leaves. That is the best way to serve food. Note, palasha is the tree Bute frondosa. 113. Having meals on a copper plate is prohibited for married householders. A golden or any kind of metal plate is prohibited for sannyasis, but a sannyasi may have meals on a copper plate. He may also use a crystal, stone or wooden plate. They are all good for eating purposes. 114. If one eats off the swirl of a young banana leaf, the midsection of the palasha leaf or off the leaves of other creepers, then one must perform Chandrana Vrata to purify himself. 115. If one eats off the leaves of Kadamba, Kovidara, Arka, Vata, that is Banyan, or the holy Ashwatha, then he must perform Chandrana Vrata to purify himself. 117. If a Brahmin eats food on an iron plate in an earthen vessel or the bare ground or on a cloth, then he will definitely go to hell. 117. If he eats food on a brass plate, then he will attain an increase in his lifespan, fame, strength and knowledge. Therefore, a plate made of brass is the most suitable for a married householder. 118. A married householder must use a brass plate which weighs more than 5 kilograms as his food plate. A lighter plate is prohibited. It is said that a brass plate which weighs 16 kilograms is equal to a golden plate. 119. Using a brass vessel for bathing, for eating food and for keeping betel leaves and betel nuts are excellent for a married householder. But a brass vessel is prohibited for widowed women, sannyasis and brahmacharis. 120. Leaves of the castor oil plant are prohibited for married householders to use as a food plate. Leaves of the castor oil plant are worse than a dog's skin. Even worse is a broken or damaged brass plate. 121. Thus, one should realize that he incurs great sins by eating in a broken or damaged brass plate. One also incurs sins if he eats at the times of the sandhya, that is dawn, noon and dusks. 122. A Brahmin must not eat together with a fallen or sinful man. A Brahmin must not eat leftovers from a Shudra's meal. 123. He should not eat with children at night and on the days of the Shraddha, that is death ceremony. He should not take Aposhana with his own hands. Note: Aposhana is a ritual drink of water offered by one's Brahmin to another before and after meals. A Brahmin holds a small quantity of water in his right hand and recites mantras. The other Brahmin puts a small quantity of water into that water. After the mantras are recited, the Brahmin must drink that water and then begin his meals. A similar procedure is adopted at the end of the meal. 124. A married householder must not take an oil bath by himself, nor must he take the aposana before and after the meals by himself. On the day of the oil bath, someone else should apply oil on his body and give him a bath. If he takes aposana by himself, his intellect will be maimed. 125. Similarly, he should not prepare the mandala by himself. If he prepares his own mandala, his children will suffer. Their lifespan is also reduced. 126. Before the food is served onto the plate, the Brahmin should pray to Goddess Annapurneshwari, the goddess of food. A drop of milk or ghee should be put on the plate as abhigraha. Then all the food must be served on the plate, including the pottage, sweet rice, plain rice, and vegetable curry. 127. Then the Brahmin must sprinkle water on the food and around the food plate while reciting the holy Gayatri mantra. Then he should recite the Satyan Vartena mantra in the morning and Ritantava mantra at night. 128. Then he must put aside Chitrahuti, that is 5 small morsels of food to the right of the plate for Chitra and other spirits, accompanied by appropriate mantras. Then he should wash his hands with a few drops of water. One should not offer Chitrahuti at night. Note: Chitrahuti involves putting 5 small morsels of food to the right of the plate for the following: Chitra, Chitragupta, Yama, and Yamadharmaraja. The 5th morsel is for all the spirits. 129. With a pure mind, the Brahmin should hold the plate or the banana leaf with the thumb, index finger, and middle finger of the left hand and hold the aposana water in his right hand. Reciting the mantra Amrutopimasti, he should drink the aposana water. Amrutopanamasi. He should drink the aposana water. 130. If one drops the aposana water onto the ground, puts other water onto one's hand and drinks that water, then the water is equivalent to a dog's urine. One should never drop the aposana water onto the ground. 131. While a Brahmin has the aposana water in his hand, he must not salute anyone, nor should anyone else salute him or bless him. By doing so, both will incur sins. 132. A Brahmin must eat in silence. He should not make any sounds during meals. Thus, one should drink the aposana water with the Vedic mantras and eat morsels of food as offerings to the pranas, that is, life forces within oneself via the fires of the mouth. 133. If one eats food without aposana, that is considered a great sin. A Brahmin can be freed from this sin by performing Gayatri Japa 108 times. 134. The Supreme Guru said, O Brahmin, I shall now tell you about the procedure for pranahuti, that is taking food as offering to the 5 pranas, that is life forces or vital airs, within oneself. This procedure is also called prana agrihotra. This procedure provides deliverance from all sins. Note: the 5 pranas, life forces or vital airs are prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. 135. Just as a bale of cotton is reduced to ashes within seconds of a flame falling upon it, all sins are reduced to ashes within seconds by prana agrihotri. 136. One attains all 4 purushastras by following the pranahuti procedure. A Brahmin must first touch the food with his right hand. He should then recite the hymn as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. 137. The hymn is Aham Vishwanara, meaning I am the Vishwanara Agni, the fire that resides in the bodies of all creatures. I am the fire that comprises the 5 life forces. I am the fire that digests all the different kinds of bhaksha, bhojya, lahya, and chosya dishes. 138. Food is Lord Brahma. Curries and other ingredients are Lord Vishnu. The person who is eating the food is Lord Shiva. If one assumes the above concepts, contemplate upon them and eats his food, then he will not incur the sins associated with eating the food. 139. He should contemplate on the meaning of the above mantra as well as the mantra Agni Rasmi, meaning I am Agni, and offer morsels of food into his mouth just as he would offer oblations into the sacrificial fire. Note, the 5 morsels of food that are taken with the respective mantras should be plain cooked rice and not mixed with any curry or vegetables. 140. A Brahmin should take the first morsel of food with his thumb, index finger, and middle finger and offer it into his mouth as pranahuti while reciting pranaya swaha. He should then take the second morsel of food with his thumb, middle finger, and ring finger and offer it into his mouth while reciting apanaya swaha. 141. He should then take the third morsel of food with his thumb, ring finger, and little finger and offer it into his mouth while saying Vyana Swaha. He should take the fourth morsel of the food with his thumb, index finger, and little finger and offer it into his mouth while reciting Udanaya Swaha. 142. He should take the fifth morsel with all his 5 fingers and offer it into his mouth while reciting Samanaya Swaha. Each of the 5 life forces has a specific place in the human body. The heart is the primary place for the prana. The anus is the primary place for the apana. The vyana is the diffuse throughout the body. The throat is the primary place for the udana. The navel is the primary place for the samana. 143. The Brahmin should not let his teeth touch any of the 5 morsels of food. He should just swallow them right away with using his tongue. After the pranahuti, he should continue with his meal in silence. 144. The sacred scripture states that one should perform 3 activities in total silence: bath, ritual sacrifices, and meals. If one does not maintain silence during bathing, then Lord Varuna, that is the god of waters, will usurp the merits of the bath. 145. If one does not maintain silence during the yajna, that is ritual sacrifice, the goddess Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, shall abandon him. If one does not maintain silence during meals, then he will meet with an untimely accidental death. 146. If one cannot maintain silence throughout the complete meal, then one should maintain silence until the pranahuti is complete. Silence is the most suitable technique for all activities. There are some exceptions. 147. A person whose father or elder brother is alive need not observe total silence during meals. Everyone must, however, observe total silence during the meals of a shraddha, that is death ceremony. 148. After the pranahuti, one must first eat some sweet food. One must eat other spicy foods, sour, salty, and hard foods during the meal. One must not eat watery foods in the middle of the meal. At the end of the meal, one must eat some hard foods and then some watery foods. Note, the most common watery food that is eaten at the end of the meal is cooked rice mixed with curds, that is yogurt or buttermilk. It is soft on the palate. 149. A Brahmin must always eat some watery food at the end of his meal. If there is any deviation from the norm, then his strength will be reduced. Also, one should eat his food very quickly. 150. One should complete his meal in the time it takes for a cow to drink water. Eating quickly like a goat is always good for a person. 151. Now I shall tell you the amount of food that should be taken during a meal. This was told by Maharshi Parashara to all the sages. A sannyasi is supposed to eat only 8 morsels of food. 152. A married householder should eat 32 morsels of food. A person in the third stage of life, Vanaprastha, should eat 16 morsels of food. A brahmachari has no limit. He can eat as much as he wants. 153. A morsel should only be so big as to fit inside one's mouth easily. It should not be bigger than that. If a person stuffs his mouth with too much food and some food falls back onto the plate, that food is considered leftovers. If a person eats that food, then he becomes party to the sins obtained from eating leftover and defiled food. 154. If one eats half of the food in the plate, keeps the rest for later and eats the remaining food after some time, then he has to purify himself by performing the Chandrayana Vrata. 155. A person should not eat in the same plate with other people. A young boy who has still not undergone Upanayan, that is sacred thread ceremony, and an unmarried girl may eat in the same plate with other people, particularly with the mother or with their brothers and sisters. 156. During his meal, a person should leave a small portion of every dish aside, but he should not leave any portion of ghee or sweet porridge. He should not leave any portion of salt as well. At no cost should he leave any ghee on his plate. This is very important. 157. At the beginning of the meal, a Brahmin should hold his food plate or banana leaf with his thumb, index finger, and middle finger of his left hand. He should not remove those fingers until the end of the meal. 158. If he does so, he cannot continue with the rest of the meal. If he cannot avoid doing so, then he should not hold the plate to begin with. Then he will not incur any faults. 159. A Brahmin should not tie any cloth around his head when he sits down to eat his meals. One should also not eat in front of footwear. He should also avoid holding his left foot with his left hand during the meal. If he does any of these things, then the food contents of the meal will be usurped by Rakshasas. The food will not help his bodily functions. 160. If a person holds his left leg or foot with his left hand while eating, then he will be stricken with diseases. Also, one cannot leave any of his fingers while eating. He has to use all 5 fingers to eat his food. 161. If he eats his food without using all 5 fingers, then he will incur the same sin as he would by eating the meat of an animal. This has been told by learned scholars. 162. One should not eat while sitting on an elephant or a horse. One should not eat his meals in a temple, in a cemetery, or on the bed that he sleeps. 163. One should not hold his plate in his hand while eating his food. He should not wear wet clothes during his meals. His right hand should not exceed past his knee while reaching for the food. This is the opinion of many scholars. 164. One should always wear his sacred thread in the form of upavita, that is across the torso under the right arm and resting on the left shoulder while eating. This is very important, recommended by all the saints. If there is any footwear in front of him, he should not eat the food. 165. He should always eat cooked rice, roots, vegetables, and sugarcane completely. He should also drink water completely. If he leaves any food or water remaining in the plate or glass and eats that food later, then he will be eating leftover and defiled food. 166. One should not perform yajna, that is ritual sacrifice, or eat his meals without first bathing. If a person who is not sick eats his food without first bathing, then it is as if he is eating bugs and insects. 167. One should not eat without first lighting a lamp and placing it in front of the plate or banana leaf. If a person who is not sick eats in the dark, then it is as if he is eating bugs and insects. 168. If by chance the light of the lamp is extinguished during the meal, he must contemplate on the sun god and light the lamp again. He should then resume his meals. 169. A Brahmin should eat only what is on his plate. He should not ask to be served more food. If he does, then he will incur sins. 170. If he finds a hair in his food, then he should abandon that food. One should not narrate stories during meals. One should not look at the sky or in different direction. One should not eat in the dark. 171. A married householder should not eat everything on his plate without leaving some food for his wife. If he does that, he will incur sins. Whoever does not leave some food for his wife is definitely a wild sinner. 172. One should not eat in front of the gods. One should not eat in a lonely room. One should not eat near water. One should not eat at the time of Sandhya, that is dawn, noon, and dusk. 173. One should not place his plate on a stone and eat from the plate. While eating, he should not look at the face of the lady serving him. He should look down at his plate and eat his meals. 174. If a person eats off the same or different plate or leaf along with his wife at the same time and in the same household, then he will incur the sins of eating leftovers and defiled food. 175. If he drinks half the water in a glass, keeps the rest aside, and drinks the same water again later, then the water is equivalent to liquor, and it incurs the sins of drinking liquor. There is no doubt in this. 176. One should not drink water while he has wrung from clothes. If he does that, then he shall experience immense suffering in the fiercest of hells. Then he shall be reborn as a dog. 177. If one makes noises or surfs while drinking water or porridge, or while taking upasana, then he is equal to drinking liquor. 178. If one stands and drink water, or if one enters the reservoir of water and drinks the water directly, then the water is equivalent to liquor. 179. If one holds a handful of water in his hands and drinks it, then that water is also equivalent to liquor. If one drinks from his left hand, then the water is equivalent to liquor as well. 180. If one drinks water on a chair or bench in a gathering or while sitting on his bed, then that water is also equivalent to liquor. 181. One should never eat food on a broken or damaged plate. While eating meals, a person should not look at a menstruating woman, a dog, a chandala, or a person from a lowly caste. 182. One should not even hear any sounds made from them. In case he hears any of the sounds they make, then he should immediately spit out the food that he has in his mouth and get up. If he continues to eat his food, then he will incur sins. 183. One should not eat his food while sitting on a mortar, a pestle, or a grinding stone. One should not eat food while listening to the evil words being uttered during a fight. 184. If there is a stranger sitting in the same line for meals, then a Brahmin must separate himself from the stranger while drawing a line with holy bhasma. 185. One does not incur sins if one separates himself from the stranger using a door, window, column, or by drawing a line with some water. 186. If a woman wears black clothes, or if she does not wear a kacha while she serves food, then the food is equal to leftover and defiled food. One incurs sins by eating the food. Note: kacha, the end or hem of a lower garments gathered up behind and tucked into the waistband. This is worn by both men with the dhoti and women with their sari. 187. Thus, one should consult scholars and learn about the correct protocol of eating food. One should then follow that protocol. After the meal, one should recite the Rudra mantras and sprinkle some water on the leftover food. 188. The Brahmin should contemplate on all the sages, chandas, that is meter and principal deities of all the Rudra mantras. He should take the leftover food in his hand and invoke divinity in the leftover food. 189. He should then take the leftover food and place it outside the food plate or leaf. Then he should drink half of the Uttara Aposana water in his hand. Note: Uttara Aposana is the Aposana taken at the end of the meal. 190. He must then leave the rest of the Uttara Aposana water on the leftover food while reciting the Raurave mantra. 191. Then he must go out of the house, gargle and rinse his mouth with water and then wash his hands. A person who washes his hands without rinsing his mouth is regarded as suicidal. 192. When he washes his mouth, a Brahmin must not use his index finger to clean his mouth and tongue. He should use his middle and ring fingers, otherwise he should incur the deadliest sins. 193. He should then wash both his hands and then clean his teeth. He should then remove the pavitra made of dharma grass from his hand and throw it in the southwestern direction. 194. Then he should wash his feet. Using the remaining water, he should use his thumb to touch and wet both his eyes while reciting the Angushta mantra. 195. This will increase the well-being of his eyes and eyesight. If he does not do this, then he will fall prey to disease of the eye. 196. Then he should perform Achamana twice. He should then recite the mantras Ayangoha, Drupadiva, and Pranam Gantarashi. 197. After reciting the mantras, he should sit down and touch his navel, then he should perform Achamana twice again. 198. Then he must contemplate on and recite the mantras Agastya, Kumbhakarna, Badavanala, Vatapi, and Sharyati. 199. Then people whose fathers and elder brothers are alive should warm their hands in the fire. People whose fathers and elder brothers are not alive should wipe their hands using a dry cloth. 200. Then the Brahmin must contemplate on his family deity and on his guru. This is the procedure for eating food that is recommended and most suitable for Brahmins. 201. After hearing the words of the Supreme Guru, the Brahmin said to him, O Supreme Guru, I have heard the procedure of eating food. Kindly tell me which foods are prohibited and should be avoided. 202. Hearing his words, the Supreme Guru happily said, O Brahmin, listen to my words. I shall describe those to you affectionately. 203. Saraswati, the son of Gangadhara, says, I shall tell you the same thing that the Supreme Guru told the Brahmin. Pay careful attention and listen to my words. 204. The Supreme Guru said, one should avoid the food at the house of a Brahmin who does not perform the Vishwadeva ceremony. One should avoid foods that are extremely spicy, very salty, and foods that are prepared for mass gatherings. 205. One should avoid white brinjals, garlic, white onions, red onions, and mushrooms. One should avoid food at the homes of people who are evil minded, bad natured, and despicable. 206. One should avoid drinking the water from the recent rains for 3 days. One should avoid drinking the milk of goat, cows, and buffalo for 10 days after the animal delivers a calf. One should not eat food that has been burnt. 207. One should avoid foods that have fingernails or hairs in them. One should not eat food that have been touched or smelled by eagles, hens, and chickens, crows, and or cats. 208. One should avoid foods that have been half eaten by rats or cows. One should avoid foods that have come into contact with pubic hairs. One should not eat leftover or defiled food or foods that have come in contact with the leftovers and defiled foods. 209. A Brahmin should not eat food that have been served using one hand. One should avoid eating food that has become cold and dry, stale food, and defiled food. This has been stated as part of the prescribed codes of conduct for a Brahmin. 210. One should avoid foods that have been prepared by mixing oil and ghee. One should avoid stale food from previous day or night. 211. Milk purchased from a Brahmin is prohibited for drinking. One should definitely avoid it. One should avoid foods that have been cooked directly in the fire. 212. Laddu, a sweet dumpling made from gram flour and powdery sugary. Vada, a donut or dumpling made from uradal grains. Flour, laja, that is parched rice, and other such items will never be leftovers. They will never go stale. Other foods that are stale should be avoided. 213. Ripe roots and fruits, sweet rice and porridge made from jaggery will never be stale. Porridge made from other items will become stale. Other sweet rice and such porridge should be avoided after they go stale. 214. Leftover jaggery porridge should be kept aside safely so that it is not contaminated. If they get contaminated, then they should be avoided. If pickle starts to taste bad, then they should be thrown away. 215. One should eat items made from sesame seeds in the daytime itself. These sesame seed items should not be eaten at night. 216. One must not eat gooseberries, pumpkins, snake gouts, bilwa fruit, that is bale or wood apple, and other roots on the first day of the lunar fortnight. 217. A person who desires heaven and salvation must not eat figs on the 8th day of the lunar fortnight. Gooseberries are prohibited on the 7th day of the lunar fortnight and on Sundays as well. They should not be eaten at night as well. 218. Bilwa fruits are prohibited on Fridays. Shami is prohibited on Saturdays. If one eats shami on Saturdays, the goddess of wealth shall abandon that person. Note, shami, the tree, Prosopis spisigera. This tree is considered very holy and worshipped particularly during Navaratri, the 9 nights and 10-day festival in the autumn season. 219. By eating gooseberries at night, one's intellect and memory shall be maimed. If one eats gooseberries on the 7th day of the lunar fortnight as well as on Sundays, one loses his virility. 220. A Brahmin should realize all these facts and then eat his lunch according to procedure. Then he has to donate tambula, that is betel leaves and betel nuts, to Brahmins and then eat the betel leaves and betel nuts himself. The procedure of eating tambula. 221. A Brahmin must eat tambula, that is betel leaves, along with betel nuts and quick lime. If a Brahmin donates one betel nut, he attains happiness. By donating 2 nuts, 1 merits are wasted. By donating 3 nuts, one attains fortune. By donating 4 nuts, one attains sorrows. 222. By donating 5 betel nuts, one attains an increase in his intellect and his lifespan. One should never donate 6 betel nuts. It's an indicator of death. 223. If one eats betel leaves without removing the stalks of the betel leaves, it will lead to disease. If one eats the tip of the leaf, one incurs sin. Eating leaves that are rotten, old, damaged, or have been previously applied with quick limes is dangerous. 224. If one eats the 6 veins or the back of the leaves, then one's intellect is damaged. This has been told by the sages and saints. If one eats 2 betel leaves, he will lose his fortune. 225. Just eating betel nuts without betel leaves is no use. One shall incur 7 lifetimes of poverty and sorrow by doing that. Towards the end of his life, he shall become ignorant as well. 226. If a sannyasi, brahmachari, widow, or menstruating woman eats tambula, then these people incur the sins of eating meat and drinking liquor. 227. After eating tambula, one must listen to Puranas and other sacred scriptures. Then the Brahmin must perform the evening Sandhyavandana rituals. He has to sit down before sunset and offer arghyas 3 times to the sun god. 228. Normally one offers arghya 3 times while sitting down. If the prescribed time has already passed, then one must offer a fourth arghya to seek relief from the associated sins. Then one has to perform Gayatri Japa and then chant the Varana mantras. 229. As mentioned previously, the Brahmin should salute his parents, his guru and other elders and perform upasana according to procedure. If he wishes, he may eat some rice with milk at night. 230. As mentioned previously, he must sprinkle some water around his food reciting the Ritantva mantra. He should not offer Chitrahuti at night. He should not eat his food in silence according to the procedure mentioned previously. 231. A Brahmin must recite the Veda mantras for at least 1 parhara, that is 3 hours at night. According to the procedure, he has to offer all the merits of the activities of the day to Lord Vishnu and then go to sleep. The procedure of sleeping. 232. I shall now tell you the procedure of going to bed. Listen previously. Maharshi Parashara explained this procedure to all the sages. 233. The cot should be clean cot with 4 sturdy legs. A 3-legged cot and a broken cot are prohibited. One should avoid sleeping on cots made from the wood of the holy Ashwatha tree, the holy Adambara tree, or the Plaksha tree. 234. The cot should be made from strong and sturdy wood. The wood of the jambu tree is prohibited for making cots. Ivory from the tusk of an elephant is also prohibited. One should not sleep on cots made from old and rotten wood. 235. One must begin to have the cot made during an auspicious time. One must never bring work on the cot during the stars, Dhanishta, Bharani, or Mrigashira. Note, there are 27 stars according to Hindu mythology. 236. If one starts work on the cot on a Sunday, that shall bring him great profits. If one work is started on a Monday, then that brings him great happiness. If the work is started on Tuesday, then that brings sorrow. Work started on Wednesday leads to great troubles. 237. The great sages states that if the work on the cot is started on Thursdays, then one begets 6 sons. Work started on Friday leads to special benefits. Work on the cot started on Saturdays leads to death. 238. One should always lie down with his head in the eastern direction while sleeping in his own home. When sleeping in his father-in-law's home, he should place his head in the southern direction and his legs facing north. While traveling, he should place his head facing west. 239. A Brahmin should never place his legs in the southern direction and sleep. He should never place his legs facing the corners of the room. Thus advised learned scholars and maharshis. 240. A Brahmin must place a pot of water near his head. He must also place a mirror and other auspicious items. He must recite the Ratri Sukta mantras and then contemplate on Lord Vishnu, who wards away the bondages to this material world. 241. Then he should contemplate on Maharshi Agastya, Madhava, Muchukunda, Astika and Kapila. Then he must recite the Sarpa Sukta mantras. 242. I shall now tell you about the places which are prohibited for sleeping. Listen. A Brahmin should not sleep in an old abandoned home. He should also not sleep in a temple which is abandoned and in ruins. 243. A pious Brahmin should never sleep in front of the gods, nor should he sleep in a square in the middle of the town. He should not sleep in the same place where his parents sleep or where his guru sleeps. 244. A Brahmin should not sleep near an anthill or snake pit, near a lake, near a river, or near any body of water. He should never sleep in a terrible and fearsome place. 245. A Brahmin should not sleep near delicious dishes. He should not sleep near or on a heap of grains or in a broken down house. One should never sleep on a cot near his guru who is sleeping on the ground. 246. A Brahmin must not sleep in nude. He must not tie a cloth around his head while sleeping. He must not wear wet clothes while sleeping. He must not sleep on an open ground. He must keep a burning lamp where he sleeps. 247. A Brahmin must not sleep at nightfall or also during the last hour of the night just before sunrise. A Brahmin must not sleep near a menstruating woman for 4 days. 248. A Brahmin should always wear his upavita across the torso, under the right arm, and resting on his left shoulder while sleeping. If a Brahmin sees the private parts of a woman, then his lifespan is reduced. Therefore, he should switch off the light before sleeping with his wife. 249. If a man sleeps with a woman wearing blue colored clothes, then the child conceived from the union is equal to Chandala, an outcast man. Therefore, white clothes are best for a woman while going to bed. 250. A man should not sleep with his wife until she attains puberty. If he sleeps with her before the requisite samskara, that is, sacramental rites, are performed, then he incurs several sins. 251. A girl attains puberty as soon as she reaches 10 years of age. Therefore, sages and scholars recommended that the girl be married off before she reaches 10 years of age. Note: normally, a girl is married off when she is around 8 years of age. Her husband must not engage in any sorts of sexual relation with his wife until she reaches puberty. After she attains puberty, her parents perform the samskara, that is, sacramental rites, after which husband and wife may be together. 252. If the husband goes out of town during his wife's fertile period, then he incurs the deadly sins of killing a fetus. Note: by being out of town during his wife's fertile period, a man is removing all chances of her getting pregnant and delivering a child. In essence, it is as if he killed the fetus. 253. If his wife is barren or has several children already, if she is aged or not interested in a sexual relationship, then the husband does not incur any sins if he goes out of town during his wife's fertile period. 254. After her menstrual periods, if the husband sleeps with his wife on the 4th day, then short-lived sons will be born from that union. On the 5th day, girls are born from the union of husband and wife. A union on the 6th day which results in male children. 255. Union of husband and wife on the odd days, that is the 5th, 11th, 9th, etc. after the menstrual period, will result in female children. And union on the even days, that is 6, 8, 10, etc. will result in male children. A woman's fertile period lasts 16 days. For a successful union of man and wife, the moon must be strong. 256. Union of man and wife is prohibited on the days when the ruling stars are Mula, Magha and Revati. Union is not recommended when the husband and wife are angry at each other and possess ill will towards each other. The best time for a union is when husband and wife are both happy. That union shall bear good fruits. 257. Whatever his state of mind is, when the man ejaculates his semen into the woman, the fetus from that union shall bear the same qualities. Therefore, one should always be of sattva-guna, that is positive, wholesome and good-natured, that is, the harbinger of happiness. 258. The Supreme Guru said, this is prescribed code of conduct for a Brahmin as explained by Maharshi Parashara. This has been accepted by all the sages with great devotion and respect. 259. Then the Supreme Guru addressed the Brahmins, I have explained to you the prescribed code of conduct. How can a good and dutiful Brahmin ever be miserable? 260. Such a Brahmin is respected by even the gods. The Kamadhenu, the always fulfilling celestial cow, shall always reside in his house. He shall always rejoice with bountiful opulence of wealth and grains and enjoy life with several children and grandchildren. 261. A Brahmin who follows the prescribed code of conduct shall live for 100 years. All his sins shall be destroyed. He shall become learned and lead the life of a scholar without fearing the evil qualities of Kalipurusha. 262. Death shall not come near such a man. When this is the case, how can such a man ever meet with an untimely death? Therefore, O good Brahmin, you must also follow this prescribed code of conduct. 263. Hearing the words of the Supreme Guru, the Brahmin fell at his feet. He held on to the feet of the Supreme Guru and saluted him. He said, O Supreme Guru, you have shown mercy on me and have granted me superior advice. 264. You have incarnated on this earth to deliver your true devotees from bondage and misery. O Lord Vishnu, you have watered away my ignorance and have blessed me with enlightenment. 265. Saying this, the Brahmin again held the feet of the Supreme Guru and saluted him. Pleased with the Brahmin's behavior, the Supreme Guru addressed the Brahmin thus. 266. The Supreme Guru said, O good Brahmin, I have described the code of conduct to you in detail. Abandon eating at other people's homes and follow this code of conduct. You shall live happily as a result of doing this. 267. You shall definitely attain fulfillment of all your desires and wishes. You shall obtain several sons and daughters. You shall lead a happy life and contented life. In the end, you shall attain salvation. 268. The Brahmin obtained this boon from the Supreme Guru and happily returned home. According to the advice and command of the Supreme Guru, he followed the prescribed code of conduct and attained fulfillment of all his desires and wishes. 269. Guru Siddha said, O Namadharaka, the holy Guru Charitra is thus extremely holy and sanctified. By listening to this legend, even a fool shall definitely become learned and attain Brahmagnana, that is divine knowledge. 270. This story is very interesting. It is the light of knowledge for those people who are wandering around in the darkness of ignorance. Just by listening to this great legend, one attains everything one's desire. 271. Saraswati, the son of Gangadhara, tells the legend of the Supreme Guru. This legend is like Kalpavriksha, the all-wish-fulfilling celestial tree. This legend shall quickly grant the listeners all his desires and wishes. Thus ends chapter 37 in the Karma Kanda in the dialogue between Guru Siddha and Namadharaka in the text known as the Legend of Narasimha Saraswati, authored by Gangadhara Saraswati in the Marathi language as Sri Guru Charitra and referred to as Sri Guru Samhita, composed in the Sanskrit language by His Holiness Sri Vasudevananda Saraswati. Om Tat Sat. Mantrahina, Kriyahina, Bhaktihina, Kshamapate. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.